Hello, great ones. Welcome to the Live and Be Great podcast. I'm your host, Latanya Sampson McDonald. I am a life coach and a registered marriage and family therapist associate. And this podcast was created to motivate, educate, and inspire all to live and be great. On today's episode, we are moving on to the second agreement in the book, The Four Agreements. So if you missed the first agreement, please refer back to the previous episode. I hope you all are doing well, and for those who did listen to the first episode, I hope that it was helpful. Okay? So, the second agreement in the book, The Four Agreements, is to don't take anything personal. I'm still struggling with this. But I must say, when I can remember to do it, it is so helpful and so peaceful. Okay? In this book, they talk about being in hell and creating your own heaven in the midst of it. And that is basically the concept for the whole book. And with these four agreements, you can do it this way. So when it comes to the second agreement, when it says don't take anything personal, what that means is someone may insult you. If they feel the need to do that, know that it has nothing to do with you. It always has something to do with them. So if you take it in, that means that you're accepting their mess and you're putting it onto yourself. You're taking it personal. And we do have a need to feel like everything's about us as a person. They call it personal importance in the book. And like everything has to do with me, like you meant to do this to me, and everything is my fault, or I have to fix everything. And, based off of our programming, we don't realize that when we do take everything personal, someone else's actions, someone else's words, someone else's belief, when we take it personally, we feed into that self-absorption, as in, everything is about me. The world revolves around me. It's not true, right? Nothing they talk about in the book, nothing other people do is because of you. So let's think, like those of us that, may have been bullied or disrespected in some point in time in our life by whoever. You got to think back to those moments. Like, for instance, my bullies when I would say, elementary school and high school and even college. Yeah, even college. My bullies are those that, did some devious things or like mean girls or whatever the case may be. They were always bigger than me. Okay. I was already a thick girl. I was always thick. And by thick, I mean, because everybody has their own perceptions of what thick is. I would say in middle school, I was 125. And I guess you can just, take that as to what it is. Like I was always thick. But it was based off of my muscles because I've always had an athletic body. So my, muscles weigh more than fat does. So the build of my body was always like wider and thicker and heavier than other people. And somebody could be, I would say, 125 in middle school, but where it goes, it could look like, oh, they got a big stomach or whatever the case may be. But I didn't have that when I was growing up. But that's just to give you a picture. But the bullies were always bigger than me. Like they were always bigger than me. And it's like, okay, when you think about it, somebody always wants what you want. Like people, we live in a world where we're trained to want what we don't have, regardless of whether we need it or not. Like, why do they have it? Oh, they seem to be so-called happy with this particular thing, this particular lifestyle, this particular product, whatever the case may be. They seem to be happy. So let me, why don't I have it? Even though you may not need it. Right? So there's always someone that wants what you have. So I would think of it as, okay, maybe they wanted to be my size, and I'm already, self-conscious about my size already. So maybe that's why they're picking on me, because I'm like, hold on. my other mind, my non-therapist mind, be like, you ain't got no business talk about nobody. Right? Based off of what the standards are, in society and what that person is bullying you for. You like, look at, you ain't got no business, right? Of course, I wouldn't say that, but that was what I would tell myself to kind of get over it. But it did hurt at the time to be picked on, based off of whatever I was already insecure about, right? So that was them putting their poison about themselves onto me. Because I did grow up with, what was that? What's that saying about bullies? Something about they don't love themselves. It's not coming to me, but it's like just every child, even in TV shows we would watch, it would say the same thing about what bullies are. But anyways, if you guys could think of it, good, because I think y'all know what I'm talking about. Those from my generation on back, right? But I wish I had this second agreement not to take it personal back in the day. I can't say that it would have been less difficult. I have no idea if I would have took that on, because, teenagers, during that time, our brains aren't developed yet. So we don't really understand that tomorrow is a new day and you can start over. We don't really concept that. We kind of take it as teenagers, because we don't, we're looking at the right now. We feel like right now is going to be forever based off of the development of the brain when you're a teenager. So I can't say. I might have, depending on who it was coming from, probably if it was coming from my parents or something, I probably would have just brushed it off, right? But maybe if it was coming from another peer or a mentor that I admired, that might have helped. Or somebody, who I looked up to that might have been a little bit older than me, but still a teenager, I might have been able to really take that in, But needless to say, it don't have nothing to do with you, right? Nothing. And I talked about this on the other episode. I think I talk about this all the time. People project. People project their insecurities onto you. And when you decide to take that on, you're accepting that poison. They talked about in a book that somebody can poison you, like spiritually, send poison your way emotionally. But if you decide to take that in and to take it personal and to make it truth, then you've accepted the curse. They talked about how you can basically break any curse that somebody puts onto you. Because remember, we talked about talking. Anytime you talk, you're casting a spell. You can break any one of them if you decide not to take it personally. Okay? Like, especially when it comes to people who you actually care about, that you know they need to work on themselves. You know we all have insecurities. You know, right? What they struggle with, you know what their life is. Don't take what they're doing personal. Not saying that if they continue to hurt you, that you should stick around. But as far as it being your own truth, you don't have to do that. Like, focus on what you know is true about you. Like, if somebody's saying, hey, yes, this does make you look fat. You still have to, 9 times out of 10, if you do take it personally, you you already feel that way, right? So what does that say about what you think about yourself, but telling yourself the truth is, okay, if you have a goal and say, hey, the doctor told me that this extra weight around my midsection is unhealthy, then you focus on that, right? You focus on your health. You focus on getting better based off of the facts, not what someone else feels the need to project onto you. And everyone knows, I hope you know, but everyone should know whether someone is intentionally trying to put you down or is trying to support you based off of, their needs. And the interesting part about it is the need to say something, to give a critique, or whatever the case may be, is based in fear. All of it. Whether it's I mean to hurt you by this or I'm trying to help you. It's all based in fear, right? So you have to determine what the intentions is of the person, and also what's true and what's not true. Back in the day, listen, and this does have something to do with me being a Pisces, okay? Listen. I will give people chances after chance after chance. And how I did that was trying to figure out, okay, what is this person going through? I never really focused on what they said. It was more like why they're saying it. Do they mean to hurt me? And if I, talk to people and they may say, no, they didn't mean to, or if I felt like, okay, well, this person is having a bad day and they got this, and this going on, I'll let it slide, right? And I'll be like, okay, well, that's not intentional. So maybe, hold on. Hold on. I just realized what I said. So maybe I've been doing number 2. Doing number 2, that didn't sound right. Sorry. I've been applying agreement number 2. Maybe I have been my whole entire life. But I will say it does not excuse the fact that when I did find out that this person was intentionally trying to hurt me, it hurt. That's when I'm like, okay, I need to put you in the danger category, right? So I think that's okay to do that. I think it's okay to, number one, don't take it personally, but number two, when it comes to creating boundaries for people who are repeat offenders, focus on that intention, because regardless, just because you having a bad day, why do you feel the need to make me your dumping ground? Right? For when you have a bad day, when things aren't going right. Why do you feel the need? Okay, if I'm not happy, no one needs to be happy. Right? And I think we've all had those moments where we having a bad day and we don't want, we don't necessarily want a person that's just laughing and happy. Sometimes you want the person to not necessarily feel what you feel, but be empathetic in that moment when you feel like you need a shoulder to lean on or someone to validate you or support you in that moment of sadness or, anger or whatever the case may be. I'd rather you just say that. Just say that to me, or, I'd rather I just say that, or whatever the case may be, than try to bring me down just because you're having a bad day or you feel a certain way about yourself, so you feel the need to attack me, right? I'd rather you just say that. Wouldn't you guys? I feel like that makes more sense. And I'm also the type of person, I can't even lie. Like, when I'm not in a good mood, I just don't be around people. Like, I don't. If I know that I don't want to mess up someone else's mood, I feel like they're having a good day, I will separate myself. That probably has something else to do with me being a Pisces as well. But I will just, not just Pisces though, but a healing Pisces. Like, you're forever healing, but someone who is self-aware in their journey and has reached a certain level when it comes to their emotional maturity and emotional intelligence, right? And the things that affect people. So I will just not talk to nobody and go talk to whoever I need to talk to, therapist, life coach, whoever. Go talk to who I need to talk to, who can give me that support, right? Instead of taking it out on people. Also, I am the type, like, if you do push me, yes, I will call you out, man, and that's only because you triggered me. I gotta be honest about that. When you feel the need to react to somebody's negativity, is because they triggered you, and you have to be accountable for allowing them to trigger you. You do, when you decide to take what they're saying personally. Right? Now, it can get confusing because you do want people to know they can't disrespect you. You don't care what's going on in their life. So sometimes you throw back. You send back that other insult, right? When they triggered you, and it's in a space that, okay, I know this person, every time they always coming at me for something. Listen, stand up for yourself. But I would say choose those battles wisely, and also, because I know there's certain circumstances where it just calls for you to say what you mean and mean what you say. Especially when it can affect something that there's no way around this person. They will affect it if they continue to treat me this way or continue in this manner when it comes to this situation, right? Like, I'm talking about Let me see. Your cousin comes over and they always in the fridge. Always in your fridge. And they're like, why you ain't got this? Why you don't have this in the fridge? Okay, listen. You ain't supposed to be in my fridge anyway. Okay? Right? You come over and you go grocery shopping in my fridge. Okay? You don't need to be telling me why I don't have this and why I don't have that. That's not, listen, it's a privilege that I even allow you to go through my fridge like that. Don't complain. Okay? Like sometimes you gotta, set that boundary. You're not trying to cut your cousin off, but you love them. But hey, this is my boundary and I need to let you know. Right? And yeah, you triggered that feeling of you don't appreciate the fact that I let you come in here and do this. Right? So in instances like that where you have to speak up, where you have to set a boundary, do it. Right? But in instances of, I would say, someone saying, oh, I don't like the color of your bedroom. I see you painted it new, but I don't like it. Don't take it personal. Don't. Because 9 times out of 10, they're afraid to do it themselves. Okay? And if it makes you happy, it's none of your business whether they like it or not. Right? So that one, you don't got to argue about that. You don't got to take that personal. You don't. If the color made you happy when you painted it that way, okay? Listen, you got a choice to stay in heaven while someone is trying to make it hell for you. You have a choice. Okay? So you keep that color the same way it is based off of how you feel. Tell yourself the truth. I love it. Okay, I like the way it looks. It looks amazing to me. I'm not going to take that personal. Just be like, okay. And move on. Because you're going to be able to find, you're always going to have an explanation as to why someone is approaching you in a certain way. Okay? Always. I do want to bring this up because I don't want to get too far away from continuing to make sure I show up in this space of inspiration and motivation when it comes to the things that I deal with on a daily, or some struggles I might be having in my community or my demographic, because it affects me, right? So when talking about this second agreement, I'll let y'all in. There is like a war going on. I would say psychological, emotional, spiritual war going on between men and women. But to be more specific, as it affects me, black women and black men, right? I remember when I started dating people, and colorism is a thing in our community. The majority of the time my color was an issue when I was dating, it was with other dark-skinned men, right? And in our community, if you see the black women bashers, we call it the manosphere, the red pills, right now on social media, you will see their main attack is against dark-skinned women. But something that you will also see is that a lot of the leaders are darker-skinned men. And there will be memes about, and this has been going on like for a very long time, but we are now creating spaces to where we're noticing it and we're talking about it, right? So they would have memes about, you know, your first baby mama, you're not a real one if your first baby mama ain't ugly, right? And the meme had a dark skinned black woman, right? She wasn't ugly. She was just dark skinned. And that's the narrative, right? I remember there was a social media post where they had all these athletes and they were basically like, they were cheersing to all of their light skinned children. And all of them had white women as their wives, right? But these were all black men sitting at in a restaurant at a table, feeling the need to cheers to that, right? So with those factors in mind, based off of my experience, right? If there was a dark skinned man saying, "Oh, I don't like black women," or "I only date white women," or black women are this, y'all not attractive, y'all this, y'all that, right? Guess what? Can't take it personally. They don't have nothing to do with me. It's obvious, right? That there's something about your own blackness, your own dark skin that you don't love. And I think I talked about this previously. There's sort of an alliance in the black community. It may be shifting a bit now, but for the majority of my experiences, there was always an alliance with lighter skinned men, right? When it came to how we're treated in the black community. The darker skinned women are masculinized, right? And the lighter skinned men are feminized. Okay? So sometimes there's an alliance, and sometimes based off of how we're brought up, based off of how we identified with and the stereotypes and the toxic situations, okay? We could be enemies, right? I had an ex that was light skinned and told me that I was more masculine than him because I was dark skinned. Not people think, no, he believed that, right? So that also had to do with, that self-hate, or, you may see a dark-skinned woman or even a light-skinned woman view a lighter-skinned man as weak, or you're not tough enough, you're not manly enough because you're light-skinned. Or you'll see in our community, they'll be like, stop acting light-skinned, right? That means weak. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's going on, right? So when I bring it back to the second agreement, I want to remember that I'm beautiful because I say I am, right? And my complexion is beautiful because I say it is. I am feminine because I say I am. It don't have nothing to do with other people's insecurities about themselves. I'm not going to take in that poison, right? And if you are around me spewing that poison, you can't be around me, right? That goes back to that intention. I'm going to make sure that I don't take it personally, but also I'm going to make sure I set that boundary. Okay, you can't be in my space. I'm not going to be, fighting for you and bending over backwards for you, because I don't deserve it, right? And you don't deserve my loyalty if you feel the need to continuously disrespect me, whether I take it to heart or not, right? You can't be around. And the book does say that, like, it's okay. It's okay to do that. It's okay to, if you can't, if you can't act right, I'm not going to take on what you're saying as my personal identity. I'm going to make sure I don't do that. But if this is what you do, you got to go. Right? You're not going to continue to put poison on my space, on my happiness, and make it hell because you're in hell. No. This is my heaven. And I got the keys. Right? To open the gates for whoever I feel like belongs there. And we all have that right. You have that right. And please believe, listen, I hate what's happening. I hate, seeing my little cousins and my nieces, what they have to go through as little black women when it comes to their own black men. And when we listen, please know, we already know, we're not saying all, because I'm married to a black man, and I have a lot of black male friends that do not have never treated me that way, and don't treat black women that way, right? So and don't, see, black women as this thing of being unattractive, whether they're light skinned or dark skinned. Like, those are the real ones I keep around me, okay? But, we're not saying all, and we're not saying that all black women, view certain types of men weak, or whatever the case may be, and can emasculate those men. It's possible, but not all, right? It's all about your perception of human beings, of yourself, and how you were brought up, right? Has nothing to do with the individual per se. Like, if it's being done to you, or if it's being done to me, it has nothing to do with me or you. It has everything to do with that person, okay? So you got to be responsible for what you take in. I hate that there's racism, sexism, colorism, all the isms. Okay, I hate that it exists, but also it does not have to be my truth, right? I don't have to let other people's insecurities, other people's fear stop me from loving myself and being in a state of bliss. And when you do remember to not take these insults personally, y'all, I've tried it. It does work, okay? You can stay in the happiness for as long as you want. You can stay in it as long as you want. When you apply this agreement, when you apply the first agreement as well, which was be impeccable with your word, what you take in, and what you decide not to take in, what you decide to say about yourself, or what you decide to say about someone else, right? You treat people the way you want to be treated. I'll always keep that. I'm always going to keep that one. I'm forever and always treating people the way I want to be treated. Trying not to be judgmental, not being stupid, though. Not being stupid. Like, if somebody show you who they are, believe them. Not in that sense, but trying to make sure that I give myself grace, I give other people grace. I still set my boundaries, but I make sure I don't take anything personal. I have to remind myself, like, if one of my friends having a bad day and they a little snippy, all right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. right? Sometimes me and my husband, we're not in the same mood. I just be like, nope. I'ma still be happy. I will put my headphones in and that'll just be it. Or he'll go to another room or whatever the case may be. It's not on me to be responsible for other people's, life. Like, it's just not on me. It's not about me when it comes to that. So I don't take it personal. The only thing I need to take personal is really nothing, actually. Because I almost missed this. They talked about how the thoughts in your head, right, about yourself, sometimes they don't come from you, right? In the spiritual sense, they talk about how they could come from other realms. And you don't have no idea where it came from. Like, something will come up in your head, a thought about something, and you just like, okay, where did this thought come from? Right? When you talk about metaphysics and alchemy and the spiritual realm and things of that nature, you don't even have to take that personal. Okay? If it's negative, you don't have to take it personal. Even if it's coming out your own head, like, oh, I don't like my hair today. And then you walk out the door and somebody compliments you on your hair. Right? So you decide, oh, I'm not good enough. You telling yourself you're not good enough and then you get the job. Right? The fact that you went ahead and still applied, that was your way of not taking it personal, okay? Not feeding into the negativity, even in your own mind, based off of, that spiritual sense that I just talked about, or how you were brought up, or what this person that means so much to me will think if I do this or if I do that, right? Oh, they're going to see me as this social media influencer, and, my friend group makes fun of people who think they're, this talk show host or whatever the case may be. So, well, maybe I shouldn't just do it. No, do it. Do it. Okay. Don't. Okay. Do not allow yourself to succumb to everybody else's thoughts of you and the negative thoughts that have been placed in your head. Okay? Don't even take that personally. How about that? All right? I love this book. So next week, we're going to go to the third agreement. And I hope this second agreement was helpful to you guys. Don't take anything personal. All right? Don't take anything personal. Just don't. It's none of your business what other people think about you. It just isn't. Okay? All right. Until next time, y'all give me my credit. I showed up. Yeah, I showed up on time, on schedule. Putting it in my schedule was right. All right, that helped me. It helped me a whole lot. And I don't care what nobody got to say. Yes, I need reminders. All right? And I'm okay with that. And I'm grateful for it. Okay? And I'm grateful for my listeners. Share this episode. Comment. Leave a review. Email me. Whatever it is. But I'm so grateful for you guys. And until next time. All right? Give yourself permission to live and be great. The Live and Be Great podcast will be airing every other Friday. If you have truly enjoyed this podcast, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving Live and Be Great a chance. Please feel free to share, like, give a review, subscribe on whatever platform that you're listening to right now, on iTunes or Apple Podcast, Spotify, Anchor, as well as Google Play. The Live and Be Great podcast is strictly crowdfunded, so if you are interested in becoming a supporter, you can click the link in the description, or you can go to liveandbegreat.com and scroll to the bottom and donate to the Live and Be Great podcast today, so I can continue to give you good and motivational content. Thank you all for listening, and don't forget to give yourself permission to live and be great.